Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. We come to you on this Sunday night as we put the Masters to bed after another tremendous weekend of action. You know, it's funny when Rory opened up the big lead on Friday, an historic lead. You wondered if this would be a runaway winner. Obviously, not the case, as we played back and forth with so many guys taking the lead on Sunday. Um, and you wanted to see if Scheffler, who played better than he scored on Thursday, uh, didn't play great on Friday. Obviously, was even par after 2 rounds and had 12 strokes to make up and made up all but one of them. And unfortunately, that putt on 17, if you wanted a playoff, which I did, eh, unfortunately, that putt on 17 didn't drop. And there were a bunch of those over the 4 days that didn't drop. Plus, Scheffler played 13 and 15 badly for him, really badly for him. And he was a little erratic in that, when you wanted that great Scotty shot, you didn't get it. Wanted that perfect drive, you didn't get it every single time. He scrambled unbelievably. I mean, what he did on 14 was unbelievable. What he did 3 or 4 times to stay 9 under was unbelievable. The putts he made to stay even par. He didn't have a bogey today, but he still had a lot to make up. It wasn't enough, and he winds up falling a stroke back. Rory didn't end it the way he wanted to. You want to go out in a blaze of glory. He obviously went out just lucky that he had two-stroke lead because he needed it, you know, after he hit such an errant drive on 18. Um, but it was a typical Masters ride. From Young taking over, and you're saying, "Wow, is Young going to be the guy?" And then Rose takes over, and Rose, who's been the bridesmaid so many times, finishing second 3 times, losing in playoffs twice. Okay, I mean, so a popular figure taking the lead with his hottest streak. You know how hot he gets with the putter last year, this year, and then you know he started the back nine with the lead with a two-stroke lead, and then he gives it up. And Rory actually fell 3 strokes off the pace at one point, and I thought Rory making those birdies on 7 and 8 were critical. Now, eight's an easy hole, you expect that, but seven, and then 12, that's where he won the tournament, was able to build the lead he needed. Young couldn't get anything to drop on the back nine. I thought he forced it a little bit. Burns wasn't around. I know he made the 60-footer on 16, but he wasn't around. And you waited for you waited for Scotty to get hot, but he went through 10 holes in a row where he just got paused, where he had so many opportunities to get birdies and he couldn't. And he didn't score again, as we know, in either of the last 2 days. Did not score at all. Really, all weekend did not score at all on 13 and 15, and very hard to win the Masters if you don't score on 13 and 15. Very, very hard. And he almost did that, but fell a stroke short in finishing second. All eyes will be on him when we get to the U.S. Open because he then goes for his Grand Slam at a very young age. He'll be turning 30 on Father's Day, and they'll be playing the U.S. Open out at Shinnecock, and he will have uh, I'm sure, a great chance to lock up his uh, Grand Slam, which is a great achievement. He's already won three and won two Masters, and now Rory's won back to back, which he joins Jack and Tiger and Faldo as guys who have won back to back Masters. So Rory couldn't get a Masters forever, and now he got back to back Masters. Um, and got his sixth major. And really, there are two great players in the world now. Rory's one, and Scotty's too. And Scotty, I think, is the more consistent player, but it doesn't matter. He's also a decade younger than Rory is, so that comes into play also. So, but Rory wins. We got another thrilling Masters. The Masters never disappoints. I said that to you earlier in the week. The Masters just for some reason, the Masters is one of those events that just never disappoints. When you think, "Oh, it's gonna be a blowout this year," it never is. It never is. Something always happens to keep your attention, to give you that drama, and again today, hey, how many times did we see the board change? How many times did we see different guys jump to the top, and all with a different storyline, and Jim threading the storylines in and out, and obviously they cover it real well. I thought there was a couple of weird things today, though. One, I didn't know what was happening on 13 when, Lee was getting a 10 because Scotty was on 13 wondering whether he was gonna get a birdie putt or not on 13 for, like, 15, 20 minutes, and no one was talking about it. I was like, "What the heck's going on here?" Post the score. The other was, I never knew where Rory's ball was after he hit it on 18. I mean, they could have showed us the ball at some point. I mean, then Rory's walking around, we have no idea what a ball is, but other than that, listen, CBS's coverage is usually flawless. Nance is the best, we know that. So, nobody's close, but, I thought today they had a couple of spots where they were a little sloppy for them. But another drama-filled day at Augusta, which is all you can ask for. I mean, that's it. If you like golf, it's all you can ask for. It's a great event. It's a fun event, and it did not disappoint. Now, the golf is interesting. You're waiting, or at least I see it as this. Rahm comes in and has a bad year, a bad week. He makes the cut. DeChambeau doesn't make the cut. I wonder about DeChambeau, what he was thinking on that last hole. Rory's got a big lead. He's playing badly. I wonder what he was thinking when did he deliberately not make the cut? I'm not saying he did that, but it was just a little suspicious to me that he imploded and then got out of there as fast as he could when he didn't make the cut on Friday. Um, the bottom line is you're waiting to see these young guys emerge. There's some really talented young players out there now. Young's been around a while. He's played a lot of tournaments. Father was a pro, was a teaching pro up at Sleepy Hollow. Um, Ironically, no New York State citizen, no one who ever was born in New York State has ever won the Masters. So he was trying to be the first. Who's going to emerge? There's some really good. I mean, Oberg is the guy everyone talks about, and he has a world of talent, although he's still leaky. He's sloppy. Um, Gutup looks like a guy who really wants to be an aggressive, tough player. Young has become an aggressive, tough player. Um, it's going to be interesting because these young guys hit it a mile, and you want to see which one's going to emerge to join Rory, who before you know it's going to be in his elder statesman years as far as the big tour goes. And Scotty, who's got another decade to 15 years on top. He's 30. He's going to be 30 on Father's Day. He's got another 50, he's got from now till he's 45, 48 to still be a dominant player. So he's got almost 2 decades of being a dominant player. And he's going to be, right there as one of the greats. He already is one of the greats. But who's going to join them? Where's the next player coming from? And there's a lot of young, talented ones out there. There really are. And you're seeing them come in and emerge and play well even at Augusta. Usually when guys go in there the first time, they don't play well. You had some guys go in there and play pretty well. They really did. Go in there and play really well as first-time guys. So I was impressed by that, and they're not they're not, um, they're not in any way overwhelmed by what they see. They come in, they're aggressive, they are confident, they know how to play the game. I know the college game gives them that as a basis, but these guys, they grow up quick. The question is which one can become that consistent winner? Which one can be that guy who becomes that really consistent winner, and joins the likes of Rory and Scotty at the top of the sport because they need it. They need a star. They need a couple more stars, as a matter of fact. I know people think Scotty's a little boring because he's down to earth. He doesn't, get very emotional. He's extremely a family man. He's extremely religious. Um, so he doesn't have the glamour that, or the charisma of a Tiger or a or even a Phil, you know. Rory's like Phil in that he's erratic. He can win the tournament, lose the tournament, win the tournament, lose the tournament, win the tournament, lose the tournament 3 times in the same tournament. I mean, that's, like Phil would always do. Same thing Rory does. He's always one big mistake. Think about it. On 15, Rory came within an inch of putting the ball in the water. I mean, he almost that would have been a different last couple of holes if he had put the ball in the water, and he just missed. He had a wide open, easy wedge shot, and he almost, which he did last year too, he almost put it in the water. And if you wait and look, it was really close, and that would have changed things dramatically. And then on 18, obviously, when he's got a two-stroke lead coming to the last hole, all he's got to do is put the ball in the fairway, and it's over. He's lucky he had an opening on the right side that allowed him to hit the ball the way he did. If he was locked in completely, then he doesn't have a shot. He's got to either punch out or take a drop. Next thing you know, he's bringing 6 into play. So, didn't happen. He brought 5 into play. We had 5 to play with, and the bogey allows him to win his second green jacket. Now, on to baseball. You have to do baseball. Even if it wasn't planned that I was gonna do baseball, and I wanna caution that we are 15 games into this regular season, and it is the middle of April, and the season starts way too early, and I know the teams have been complaining about the cold. You know what? First of all, tough. Both teams have to play in it. Secondly, they do start the schedule. The schedule should not start in March. I mean, we all know that. It should not. But let's be honest. We just went through a couple of days of about as putrid a baseball as we could see. I mean, 10 games up since Wednesday, 5 Yankee losses, 5 Met losses. And not only that, I mean, 3 Yankees, 3-2, 1-0, 5-3, 5-4, 5-4, and they weren't exactly playing great teams. The Mets, in 4 of the 5 games, they scored 2 zeros, 1 run. They had 3 runs in 4 games, and then they had 6 runs in the 11-6 loss. They have now lost 5 in a row. The Yankees have lost 5 in a row, and the Yankees, remember, got off to that wonderful start, and everyone was so thrilled about the power of pitching and everything, but when the smoke clears here, let's deal with the Yankees first. How long now, the Yankee pitching is not an issue. Alright, you wanna get on the closer? He doesn't meet your level of a closer. Well, nobody's ever going to meet a Yankee fan's level or idea of what a closer is because you make him stand up and be compared to the greatest closer the sport has ever known. It is a difficult comparison for anybody. Okay. The Yankees had big time relievers going back to the old days. Names that most of you guys who are Yankee fans who are younger don't have never heard. Names like Joe Page and Louis Arroyo. Okay. Long before the days of Sparky Lyle, or obviously the days of Goose Gossage, or the days of the one and only Mariano Rivera. So, yes, you're always going to say, "Oh, the closer doesn't live up to our standards." Well, no one's going to. But welcome to the real world where people struggle with their closer. And sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad and they go through ruts and everything. And welcome to the real world. That's the world of non Mariano closers. Now, they have plenty of pitching. We know that. But how long can the Yankees? These are the Yankees. Remember? Bronx Bombers, sluggers, home run hitters. These are the Yankees. Today, they made out a lineup card with two guys batting 0 in the opening lineup and one guy batting under 100. That would be McMahon. Now, I got to take the hit for McMahon. I wanted McMahon. I wanted cash for 2 years to get McMahon. McMahon is a wonderful fielder. He's got a great glove. He's got a okay arm, but he's got a great glove. For some reason, and I did not think this would happen. For some reason, he can't hit at all since he came here. He can't even he can't even get around on a bad fastball, no less good heat. Now today he had a hit and raised his batting average all the way up to 114. But the Yankees have a guy hanging out in the outfield hitting 0. They have a backup catcher hitting 0. They have a third baseman who was hitting .79, but now has raised it to 114. Then they have a second baseman who, as you know, fashions himself something of a wonderful player, who obviously was absent the day they taught baseball in the classroom. He missed the presentation, obviously. Does he have physical ability? Yes. Does he understand the concept of how the game is supposed to be played? Not exactly. He was not paying attention or he was absent that day. He doesn't understand things like the concept of outs, the idea of what the fielder is supposed to do if the ball is hit to him, when there are runners on base, things like that. That you usually review somewhere along the way in the game of organized baseball. Somehow he was not around for those days. Now, he's also hitting 133. The starting catcher, unless you put Rice back there, is hitting 154. The outfielder who caused so much angst is hitting a robust 133. And although he did hit 34 home runs last year, and I think he is a legitimate fourth outfielder. I mean, the man last year was one of the most clutch players in Major League Baseball and hit 34 home runs. You could not have expected him to duplicate that because it was kind of an outlier year. So far, he has none, and he's hitting 133. So there are 4 guys with batting averages that play in really pretty much steadily, and they're under 200, well under 200. And then you got a couple of guys who slip in the lineup and are hitting 0. So the Yankees, at any given time, the Bronx Bombers, the powerhouse pinstripers are really putting forth a lineup these days that has at least 3 automatic outs. And sometimes the manager forgets that he's allowed to pitch it for these guys in certain spots with guys who are more reputable and have more reputable resumes at the plate. But hey, they'll catch on. They'll catch on. Really, they will. They will. Things will get better. Judge will get red hot. You know, the regular guys who you expect will start hitting some home runs. And right now, if Judge or Rice doesn't hit one, nobody's hitting one. We understand that. Although Stanton, we know will hit home runs. No one's worried about Stanton. Um, would I worry that they have fallen, cascaded all the way to 8-7? No, but I also do not expect them to go too far with this roster. Okay. There are going to have to be some changes made rather quickly. I don't think there's any question about that. This roster needs a little help. It's a little weak on the bottom side, if you get my drift. I mean, you usually don't want to have 3 or 4 automatic outs on your bench or in the lineup at the same time. And right now they have that. Now, on the other side of town, things are even worse as they have slipped under 500 as they head to visit the Dodgers, who at last look, I don't know if they won today or if they played tonight. I didn't, I was busy on the Masters. I didn't look. I know they were 11-3. I don't know if they played today or they played tonight. I'll have to look. Um, oh, they lost today, so they're 11-4. How dare they? Um, we know what's going on with Soto. We know Lindor is not only not producing in any way, and we know he's a slow starter. He doesn't like the cold weather. We understand that. But he also seems to have some concentration problems at certain times. It seems like his head is not completely into the ball game, or that he might not be all that happy. But well, you know what? We'll let it sort itself out. Polanco's hurting, and obviously he's not slugging very much, hitting 180 with 2 RBIs. Lindor doesn't have a home run or an RBI. And the youngster who did homer on opening day has struggled a little bit at the plate since then, which is not a surprise. But you know what? They might have to consider giving him a little more seasoning somewhere else. That might be a consideration. Right now, they are as anemic as they could possibly be. Plus, they also have this habit of playing musical chairs with these positions. Now, it would be nice if a bunch of these guys finally figured out exactly what their roles are on this team and exactly what position they would like to make their own, since it's a little bizarre to have them moving around as much as they do. So without Soto, with no Alonso, and I understand Pete is struggling so far in Baltimore, but the Mets have only 2 players who have hit more than 1 homer. Now, again, it's early and it's been cold. I understand that. But they do have some power that they need to pick up the void for. Now, again, when Soto comes back, things get markedly better, but they still need, and I know guys are either up or down or hot or cold on Vientos. I still believe, given a chance, and I'll tell you, he has shown glimpses at first base of being better there than we probably thought he would be. I would like to see them give him a chance to be a player. I'm not sure they want to, though. I'm not sure it's part of their commitment. And it sounds like more and more with the nagging injuries, which always, 2 things you know about Polanco is he's always got nagging injuries and he always hits. Always hits and hits well situationally, and I don't worry about Bichette even a little. I don't. I know we got off to a slow start, but I'm not worried about him. I really am not. I think he's a legitimate big time hitter. I don't think that's an issue, but I still think they do need another proven RBI guy, and they need him to be kind of a fixture in the outfield. They need to go get a right fielder who can produce them and let the outfield sort itself out in the future, but don't force feed it with a bunch of guys who aren't going to produce, other than, of course, your $765 million man, who will hit. No one questions that, even a little. But they have gotten off to a very, very ugly start, and they really look like they are in disarray in a lot of areas. They kinda look like right now they are trying to fit the pieces, and the pieces aren't fitting throughout the entire team, and that looks chaotic. It really does. So, while the Yankees, you can see where the talent is, you know who's going to produce in the lineup, but they are going to have to improve their bench and clean out some of the deadwood. Now, listen, McMahon and the platoon, I'm I'm willing to give him half a season to see if somehow his bat improves. It seems to me what they've tried to do to change his approach has made him worse. Like, I didn't think he could get worse, but he has gotten worse. He was bad last year and really disappointing offensively. I thought he could come here. I thought he could learn to hook the ball into the lower seat. I didn't care if he hit 200. I thought he would hit some home runs. He has been a big disappointment offensively. He's a wonderful fielder. He solidified that side of the infield, there's no question. He's a terrific fielder. He is an automatic out, and he looks bad doing it. I mean, these guys at the bottom of the order just get blown away. I mean, that's they just you just throw the ball right by him. You don't even, like, respect them. You just, like, say, "Here's a fastball. Here's another fastball. Let me try a change up. I don't even know why I'm bothering. Then they give me that. Give me a fastball. Here you go. Another fastball. Goodbye. Sit down." And that's basically it. And Jazz, I don't doubt that he has power and speed and talent. I don't doubt that he can wreak havoc on the friendly confines of the right field porch. He's not for me. Not long term. He's not for me. Never was. Not exactly what you're looking for. And, you know, there are some guys who play the game without kind of really getting involved. I think he's one of them. I think he's just kinda out there somewhere, but I'm not saying he doesn't have talent, he does. He has ability, but you're gonna count on him in a big spot? I don't know, but they have a lot of deadwood. They can clean it out. I understand they don't wanna bring Dominguez up unless they're gonna play him, but you cannot have guys on the bench who are this bad. You just can't. They have to be guys who can at least have a representative approach at the plate. I mean, they are Yankees, okay? I mean, let's be real here. So the baseball season has taken a little bit of a turn, but may I again caution you that the Knicks have not yet played a playoff game, that you haven't even paid your taxes yet, although a lot of you will have to dip into your pocket and either, be scurrying for a return or paying Uncle Sam come later this week. We haven't even reached April 15th yet. It's early. It's very early, but it's also ugly, as in very ugly. And when the teams in New York combine to lose 10 straight games and lose many of them in an anemic, completely anemic fashion, it draws a lot of attention. It's not exactly what you're looking for. You know, Not exactly, and not exactly great for attendance, as the Mets have found out. But when you play these games at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's 40 degrees. What do you expect? I mean, really, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's 42 degrees. Who's going to the ballpark? Even for free, who's going to the ballpark, as you've learned? Now we have the NBA, which really went out. They really culminated the regular season on a very high note the other night when I believe somewhere near 164 regulars sat out. That about sums up the regular season. You know, I've been an incredibly severe critic of the NBA regular season and what has been done to the NBA regular season. But never was it more obvious than the other night when teams were sitting out their entire so think about it. You waited all year to see Oklahoma City, and they decided, "Hey, we've now clinched best record, so we're not playing anybody." That's good. That's great. Great for business. I mean, you can't make up how bad things have gotten in the NBA in the regular season. You really can't. Now, I like the playoffs. I think the playoffs are gonna be actually interesting. You know, I will be fascinated to see San Antonio, which I enjoy watching in a real game, or Oklahoma City in a real game, or the Knicks and the Knicks and the Celtics game the other night actually had moments when I really felt like we were actually seeing really good basketball. And I was like, "Wow, you know what? This actually kind of feels like real basketball for a little while." It really had that feel to it. But they have so destroyed the regular season in so many ways that it's pathetic. There's no other word for it. And like I said, I don't think there's an answer other than and we've never seen it, other than cutting back the number of regular season games, which does not happen in any league historically in our lifetime. Why? Because the owners will only do that if the players agree to take less money, which the players will never do. So that's why it never happens. But in the NBA, if they don't do it and they continue along this path, they are going to, without question, completely, completely destroy their game in the regular season. They virtually have done that already. We'll see you later.